The February 14th meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee. Do a quick roll call. Chair Parker is present. Councilmember Allen was just here. Do we need 5 or 6? We do need, if someone could ask Councilmember Allen to step in, please. Councilmember Hauser is here. Councilmember Mendez is absent. Sepulveda is absent. Sledge is absent. Suarez is absent. Taylor is present. Toombs is present. And Welsh is present. And we've got Councilmember Allen back. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we've got 2 items on the agenda this evening. We'll begin with Resolution 2022-1381 by Parker, Allen, Suara, and others. Modifies Resolution 2021-1116, which appropriated $3 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds from fund number 30216 to provide rent and mortgage payments and utilities payments, to extend the coverage date through June 30th, 2023, and to expand mortgage relief to all participants who have household income up to and including 100% of area median income. All right, it's been moved. Can I get a second? Moved and seconded. So this bill's here for discussion. Do we have any departmental folks? I always like to get just an explanation of what these resolutions are doing. Do we have anybody here who's prepared to give us an update on this? Would one of our ARP committee members, Councilmember Gamble, I just was hoping to get some kind of explanation of what this resolution is doing. This is the, it extends the, it looks like it's just changing the date of the length of the program and increasing the AMI up to 100. Let me recognize you here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Director Kroom came to see us several meetings ago and talked about the need that they were seeing a gap in the administering of the funds. I think the initial requirements were, it had to be for residents at 80% of their median income or 80% AMI, but they were seeing a gap where people were coming in above that level, and they asked that we expand the use of the funds to meet that gap, the 100% of AMI, and also expand the coverage date as well. The initial resolution had a cutoff date, I guess based on the requirements from the CARES funding that has since the ARP funding has been released, that extension or the date for when the money has to be expended has extended. So we're asking that extension for the date and then adding that 100% AMI gap to the resolution to serve more people.
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation. And folks, if folks are looking to connect with this program, that is administered through MAC, correct? The Metropolitan Action Commission? Correct. Fantastic. So that sounds like some great changes. Councilmember Hauser, you are, well, give me 1 second. I got to find you. Councilmember Hauser, you're recognized.
Great. Thank you. My question is in regards to individuals that may qualify for these programs, how is it being communicated out in the public so they even know where to go to access these funds? I know from on the rental side, landlords hear about this and they may refer it to their tenants that are behind, but this can also go to people to help catch up their mortgages, right? So are those people hearing about it mainly from their mortgage companies, or is there some sort of outreach in our community? I just don't know the answer, so.
Would either of y'all be able to address that? Sorry to put everybody on the spot. Planning table, you're recognized.
Great. This is Mary Jo Wiggins. Thank you for allowing me to speak. The primary way for these particular funds, the $3 million, would be through United Way and its partners. So they've been advertising it on their website and working through their entire network of nonprofit partners. So a lot of the case management that comes through United Way, they're directing these folks. For the 80% and under, that's all been advertised through MAC and the HOPE program.
So if, Councilmember Hauser.
Yeah. So that's great. I just know that people, especially if they're under stress, they may not think as clearly as they may at other times in their life. So the more opportunities, the more channels we use to communicate, the more likely somebody that needs it will hear this. And that's why I asked the question. I was wondering, is there anything, and I apologize, I just haven't looked it up on our website. Is there anything on our .gov website that directs people if they have an issue with their rent or their mortgages?
Mary Jo, if you'd like to address that.
Yes, it's on with the hub. If you still go to the COVID-19 information page, all of the resources will include any of the funding provided by Metro.
And, just the quickest, easiest way to tell someone about this program, like if they dialed 211, would they be able to connect with these resources? So if you're in an elevator with somebody and you want to tell them about the program, tell them to call up 211 and be ready to wait a few minutes, but you will be connected. All right, any other questions or comments about this resolution? Councilmember Suara. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add that MAC is also another source of getting the information out, because we started working on this because there were people that were going to MAC but did not meet the income threshold. And so they're able to actually pull people that do not meet the income, that make more than the requirements, and transfer them to this program as well. So that's another opportunity, and we as council people should also keep pushing that information out. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. All right, I believe we're ready to vote, seeing no more questions or comments. So again, this is Resolution 2022-1381. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. All right, and we've got a late item here from Councilmember O'Connell, late resolution. This is a resolution approving a grant contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and Louisiana Homebuyer Education Cooperative Incorporated, doing business as Housing New Orleans, a 501c3 organization, to provide homeless performance review and recommendation support. Could we have a motion on this? Moved and seconded, so this resolution is before us. Councilmember O'Connell. Would you like to be recognized on your late resolution with regards to the Louisiana Homebuyer Education Cooperative? All right, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this one is one that is directly connected to money we already allocated under a previous allocation. This just would establish the contract. There's obviously an urgency to it. It is directly tied to the progress of Bill 2021-971 and thinking about how we're systematically addressing both housing and homelessness. This has a focus on performance of the homelessness piece of that. We obviously saw that there is some work to be done in a previous committee this evening. But I think, the only reason for the late filing is really procedural. I think we are trying to stay on a timeline that lets us go use the already allocated dollars in a timely fashion. So encourage colleagues to support it, and obviously we'll have to suspend the rules, but I'm hoping we can do that.
Thank you, yes. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me an opportunity to speak, being that I'm not on the committee. But I was going to ask about this particular Louisiana project, because I know that I've seen some from Austin and even some local people who have been a part of the homeless community or are a part of the homeless community that have offered similar things, and just wanted to know if this was something that we were just, cut in stone. on with Louisiana, or if this could be utilized for any other project that may be proposed.
Would that maybe be a question for, I'll go to the administration table to Mr. Jameson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Hurt. When the supplemental appropriation, the $500,000 amount was submitted, we had indicated that we would come back to you with our recommendation for the vending party, and that is Housing NOLA. That's an entity that we've had some experience with. We're intentionally going to a third-party perspective because we think we'll have some valuable insight into what we're doing. I know the bios are not attached to the contracts, but there are two leading executives associated with Housing NOLA. If I could share just some limited review of their resumes. Andronisha Morris has led the New Orleans Strategic Plan for Homelessness and Housing in New Orleans. She's a member of the Federal Reserve Community Advisory Committee, and she's on the board of several national organizations that have addressed both housing and homelessness. It's her intent to subcontract with Stacy Horn Koch. She's the Director of Homelessness for the City of New Orleans, the former Director of the Youth Homeless Shelter, and the Director of Housing for the state, former Director of Housing for the state of Louisiana. Again, we've had some limited engagement with this entity in the past, and it's been very encouraging, and that's it's our recommendation that we engage this vendor for this particular project.
With all due respect, you know, I have concerns that we don't utilize our own people, the people who know our community for things such as this. Not saying that there may not be some best practices out there, or people may have gone through things that could help us. But when we talk about spending dollars, I'd rather see us spend those dollars within our community first and make sure that we include those who are going to be affected by this. And we've heard tremendously from our homeless community. And for us to go to New Orleans, it's a whole nother city, a whole nother state. And for me, I would rather see us utilize and have some engagement from those right here in our own city.
Completely understand that perspective. Thank you, Chair. Councilor Hurt. Because one of the primary objectives of this is to assess what is the organizational structure that would best work towards housing and homelessness and any combination thereof, an entity that has some removed perspective, separate and apart from Nashville, struck us as a valuable tool. We absolutely hear you on hiring local, and we try to do that. In this particular instance, the ordinance that this is responsive to and our timeline with the budget, we did not have the luxury of going through the usual somewhat protracted procurement process to see both nationally and locally who could be the best entity. We are trying to meet the deadline so that this can be brought back to you in time for inclusion within the operating budget.
Councilmember Hurt.
Thank you, and we're not going to go back and forth on this, but I can tell you that in my leadership Nashville class of 2004, homelessness was the project that we were working on. So if someone really wanted to correct this and address this, it could have been done in the past 18 years as far as I'm concerned. The second thing is that when we decided that we wanted a department, a Nashville Department of Transportation, we made sure that that happened within a certain timeline. So to me, all of this just doesn't go together. It seems to me that things are being pushed for the will of those who are in charge. This has been a problem within our community for 20 plus years. And I think that they deserve to be a part of whatever happens. I don't think there needs to be a rush. And I think that you could probably do some things. We've had vacant buildings, vacant hotels, vacant schools all over, and we've not done anything to address the homeless. But it seems that when a certain group spoke up, then now we got to move and rush to get something done. So again, I think that we are doing our citizens a disservice when we make decisions and we do not actively include them in the things that happen.
Thank you, Councilmember. We've got Councilmember Allen next. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify. So this is directly in response to the bill that would have added the Department of Homelessness to the Department of Housing. And there was a request to just step back and look at best practices across the country. And that's all this group is doing, is saying, does it make sense? If we put those together, what's the best way to do it? And that's what this group will tell us. Okay. I just want to make it. And what was the deadline for that?
Line is assuming there's a recommendation that emerges that if we can capture it within our operating budget, so that passes at the end of June, as you know. So with an amendment deadline that you will probably set in early June. So the first stage of this is a 12-week duration staging. So we know we're right up to the line, but that's the urgency.
Okay, so we're working to have this decision made so we can include it in next year's budget. Great, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. And I've also got Councilmember O'Connell in the queue. Give me 1 second, Councilmember. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to that point, I think, I've been operating from the standpoint of working with what was then the Homelessness Commission, and then worked very carefully with previous administration, Homelessness Commission staff, MDHA, using a report from Focus Strategies, which was, again, an outside group. And I think at that time, leadership of the Homelessness Commission felt like there were that trust issues, which are present in a different form, could best be worked through with the help of effectively a mediator that was not already embedded in the underlying trust issue. So I felt like the Focus Strategies process was very successful. We've had several rounds of technical assistance from HUD. Every single one of those instances has also been very successful in helping people work through some of these issues. And I think this one will take, we first sort of aligned our continuum of care with the stakeholder focus that is now working through the Homelessness Planning Council. And this will give us, I hope, the operational next piece of that kind of reform of how we work on this stuff. So I feel, on the one hand, I generally agree. I think this is one of those cases where, because trust is so important to the process and has been, ebbing for some time with recent volatility in staff, that this is a reasonable approach to the issue. I do think that there will be considerable involvement with this organization with local stakeholders, including plenty of people with lived experience. So that has already borne itself out many times over, so I'm not concerned about that aspect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember, for that explanation. Any other questions or comments regarding this resolution? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, thank you. Is that 7? All right, that concludes the meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee. Budget's up next.